For a country that's as vast as ours and with such varying topography and with such beautiful delights to discover, adventure class motorcycles would be the perfect way to really explore India. But we've had a real shortfall of that category of motorcycle, but now Triumph is changing things. They've got a whole network of showrooms coming up all over the country from which you can access this, the Tiger. And we've got the more accessible Tiger 800 XE with us here, and we're going to hop on to see whether it can deliver on the promise of the adventure spirit or not. It's quite clear that the Tiger is designed to inspire a sense of adventure. Those twin headlamps glitter with determination. The stance is tall and brawny. The matte green paint emphasizes the huge reserves of the Tiger's bring it on attitude. The exposed trellis frame that stretches all the way to the tail looks indestructible. Clearly, there is no shortage of ground clearance, but just to be on the safe side, there is a super tough plastic bash plate under the engine. Typical of adventure bikes, the saddle at 865mm is pretty lofty. However, it can easily be lowered by 20mm. What I really liked were the XL size touch points. So like for the instance, the rubber foot pegs are nice and big, and I'm wearing my dirt boots, but even then I have ample space to get under the gear lever to change, so gets you comfortable really nice and quick. Overall, build is solid and the equipment is simple and usable. On offer is a power socket for your GPS or mobile phone. The instrument cluster has an easy-to-read digital display for the speedometer and trip information. Meanwhile, the tacho is analog. With the 800cc 3-cylinder engine fired up, 94 bhp of power and 8 kilograms of torque are delivered to the rear wheel by a conventional chain drive. The cable-operated clutch isn't too heavy, and the shifts on the 6-speed gearbox are slick. But you won't need to work the gearbox much, as the torque is available right from about 2000 RPM. So, slow speed duties or gathering speed is a breeze. The motor is so punchy that even short shifting at about 6000 RPM provides enough acceleration for overtaking or just gunning down the highway. But when you need some extra oomph, you just have to let the motor rev to its 10,000 RPM red line and it will get the job done. Although an expected range of 250 kilometers from its 16 liters of usable fuel tank capacity isn't ideal for touring. This engine is clearly one of the high points of this motorcycle. It's flexible, it's sensible, it's practical. So whether you want to crawl at low speeds or blast down highways, the smooth motor can do it all. Now let's see whether the rest of the package can manage to deliver at the same level or not. Since the Tiger can sit at speeds above 120 km an hour all day, the rider will be glad that the non-adjustable windscreen deflects most of the wind blast. Shedding speed is no hassle thanks to the 308mm Nissan dual discs at the front. The safety net of ABS puts you all the more at ease. On the Tiger, you can enjoy winding roads as well. Just make sure that you aren't too aggressive with the inputs. You can enjoy the Tiger 800 XE on a winding road, but what will curb your enthusiasm is that sense of heaviness at the handlebar. The weight of the motorcycle feeling quite apparent as you steer it around. With its 215 kilos of curb weight, the Tiger prefers to be ridden with a measure of maturity. Also, braking hard on the Tiger didn't feel as sure-footed as expected, which is down to the suspension setup. The Tiger uses 45mm shower forks at the front with 220mm of travel. And there is a linked monoshock at the rear that can soak up 215 millimeters of travel. The strong motor and the soft suspension make the Tiger incredibly well suited for highway duties. On the smooth, open roads, the ride quality is absolutely cushy and comfortable. You'll cobble up kilometers without feeling a thing. But when you turn onto broken B roads, the story gets a little bumpy. That's because the Triumph fails to soak up bumps and potholes as well as expected. The suspension can soak up an incredible amount of what our roads can throw at it, but somehow it doesn't seem to have a sense of mastery, the ability to just demolish the worst sections that come its way, which would have then given you the confidence to really head off-road and muck about in the rough stuff. And yes, it also has a 21-inch front and 17-inch rear wheels with spoke rims. All this suggests an inclination to go off-road, but the Tiger didn't feel at home over these roads. And the seating position makes the going a bit more difficult for the rider. It took me some time to get used to the seating position. I wouldn't say I really got comfortable because there's really a bit of a stretch to the handlebar. It's wide, but the thing is it's low and flat, so you kind of lean forward onto it, which is a bit aggressive and maybe hints at the road bias of this motorcycle. When you combine this with the heaviness of the steering and the suspension's reluctance to soak up rough patches, the Tiger 800XC fails to inspire the confidence and sense of control needed to take a bike of such immense proportions truly off-road. So the Tiger 800XC does fall a bit short on the adventure front. For that, it would have to be lighter, more confidence-inspiring, and be willing to take more abuse from our roads. But for what it offers, it is still a great motorcycle to tour India on, as long as you're not planning on really going far off the tarmac and heaping it with abuse. Otherwise, for just munching kilometers with ease and comfort, the Tiger 800XC really fits the bill really quite well. And at 12 lakh rupees, it is quite accessible, but what could make it even more interesting and appealing would be if Triumph decided to assemble it in India and slash the prices by a third, let's say